What's good, everybody? It's man Big Don coming back live at you. Another True Players podcast episode. We are live tonight. Big news that came about yesterday, and when I found out about the news, I thought it was a cruel joke. I thought it was something that someone just made up, and then when I see ESPN confirmed it, it was official. Tom Thibodeau is no longer the New York Knicks head coach. This news to me is very shocking. I was meant to come on last night to talk about it, but I had to really think about this clearly. And I'm quite sure I'm going to have another episode with Matthew to join me and do the Knicks post-season ending episode. But this is a shock. This is shocking. I have my thoughts on why he got fired. I have my thoughts, but these are just my thoughts. There's no secret source or anything like that that can confirm what my thoughts are. But it's just a thought, a few thoughts there. However, Tom Thibodeau is no longer the New York Knicks head coach. 5 years. He regular season record of 226 and 174 losses. They made 4 playoff appearances with the final record of 24 and 23. Listen, he took a team of Julius Randle and RJ Barrett to the playoffs in 2020 and 2021 season. And then, that's when things started to take off. He had a dip the next season after. Then after that, next three years, playoffs. Second round, the past 2 years, and then eventually breaking the curse of 25 years not being in the East Conference Finals. They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they lost to the Pacers in 6 games. Now, we can sit there and talk about should they have beaten the Pacers. I will talk about that a little later in this episode. But let's get straight to the point about, in my opinion, there's 3 reasons why I feel Tom Thibodeau was fired. The one reason I have in my mind is I truly believe he pushed for the Karl Anthony Towns trade, and the front office listened to him, knowing that bringing in Karl Anthony Towns will cap strap them for years to come, and under the promise that this is going to be the team that's going to go to the NBA Finals. That was not the case, and now the Knicks are stuck with a contract. Which, they could move Cat if they want to. But are you going to have to take on a bad contract? And whether or not is he even enough if you're going to make that big move to replace him with Antetokounmpo? That means is Mitchell Robinson is going to be on this team next season. And they're going to look for another backup center to back up Mitchell Robinson. I truly believe their backup center is on that bench in Hockporty. So, one reason I believe he was fired because I felt that it was he pushed for this trade. There was rumors. There was rumors for the past 2 years whether Karl Anthony Towns was going to come to the Knicks. It finally happened. Everything looked good in the regular season, but for some reason during the postseason, especially the Indiana series, exposed something with the tandem of jalenbrunson and Karl Anthony Towns. It really exposed something during that series. Now, that's just one theory. The second theory I do have is it has something to do with the owner. Someone was in his ear. He spoke to leonrose. leonrose jumped on the sword for his owner, for his boss, and made a decision to fire Tom Thibodeau. Now, I could speculate who was in his ear, but I don't know if it's true or not. I do understand that worldwidewes was not a big fan of Tom Thibodeau. Maybe he was in Dolan's ear, and then Dolan came down and told him, listen, fire Thibodeau. That could have happened as well. I see some bogus tweet on Twitter, on X actually, that Isaiah Thomas spoke to Dolan and got him fired. That's asinine. That's stupid. I don't know where people come up with that stuff on X, but I don't think that was the case. But I do believe there was some internal discussions in the front office, and possibly the owner was involved, and felt this was the appropriate time to let him go. Now, do I agree with this firing? No, I don't agree with this firing. But I will say this: if you would have kept Thibodeau, another Villanova Wildcat may have been traded off this team. And it may not be the one that most Knicks fans want to be traded off. It'd probably be the most favorite Knick of everybody, including my favorite, would be Josh Hart. Because in the Indiana series, the Pacers exposed Josh Hart. They exposed Josh Hart. If Josh Hart had a better J, the series would have been different. The Knicks probably would have been heading to the NBA Finals right now. Or even better, go to a Game 7. Josh Hart was not right in this series for some reason. He was fumbling the ball. He was making turnovers and things like that. This was not a Josh Hart normal performance in that series against the Indiana Pacers. It was not normal. Something was definitely up. But let's get back to Thibodeau. He sure makes it big. He got a big severance pay of $30 million. Don't everybody wish you could have a big severance pay of $30 million to not coach? I'll sign up for that anytime. And mind you, his extension didn't kick in yet. He was still on his original contract. So it was, in my opinion, it was a poor decision because you don't have a clear-cut replacement for him right now. You don't. I mean, I have a couple of coaches that I would love to replace him, but they're not going to come because of the loyalty they have towards him. So you could definitely. I know the commentator Stephen A. Smith has mentioned Jeff Vangundy, Mike Malone. Those guys was all together on the same coaching staff. That's not going to happen. I mean, I wish it would happen, especially with Jeff Vangundy, who I felt had some unfinished business with the New York Knicks franchise. I would love to make that happen. But, loyalty is few and far between. And I believe these men, Mike Malone and Jeff Vangundy, are going to be extremely loyal to Tom Thibodeau. And I come after the job that he unfortunately lost, was taken away from him. We didn't get an opportunity to get another season with this roster. And I felt, he should have been given another season. Or just maybe they didn't want him to start that new contract. They felt the time is now. They said they didn't, according to the press release, leonrose saying the Knicks need a new voice. That could be true. Or just maybe the Knicks need a different sort of players on that roster that they have. How many 3-and-D guys can you get and they don't perform the way they're supposed to perform? Or what the trade asked them to perform to. Make no mistake about it. If it wasn't for Mikal Bridges, we don't get past Boston in the second round. We don't get past Boston and his defensive prowess. But he was an extremely inconsistent player throughout the season. And you can't say it's because he just came to New York, because he was playing in Brooklyn. So you kind of understood the New York market. Maybe the spotlight wasn't as much on Brooklyn as it was on the Knicks, but he played in the city, and it's still what it was all about. There was no excuse for that, for his up and down season. OG Anunoby, for all the money we gave him, I understand we gave him money to be the guy that stops the team's best player, $240 million, which also kept showing the Knicks as well, and which is one of the main reasons why they weren't able to keep Hartenstein, in my opinion. One of the main reasons. He looked kind of ordinary too at certain junctions. Granted, he was a leading scorer in Game 6. Granted that he was, but that's not the player you want leading the team in scoring. You don't want that. But he made some poor decisions offensively. Defensively, and especially the Indiana Pacers series, I felt he should have been. That's where Thibodeau lost me. You could have thrown him. You had to throw different bodies at Halliburton. Just like the Indiana Pacers was able to throw different bodies at Brunson. Was Nembhard, Neesmith, and there was another play that they threw at Brunson also. And Brunson did not have a great series. Did not have a great series. You know, probably that's the reason why Thibodeau got fired. There had to be a different strategy to attack the Pacers instead of having Brunson pound the ball for most of the shot clock and shoot a tough shot. I made the same complaint about Julius Randle when Julius Randle was on the team before we got Brunson. Trying to find ways to make easier scoring opportunities than trying to force everything up and dominate the ball. And now we're seeing it with Brunson right now. We're seeing it with Brunson right now. But let's talk about who could replace Tom Thibodeau right now, in my opinion. I did mention Jeff Van Gundy, Mike Malone. I know a lot of people would like for that to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. It's going to be like a 25% shot of that happening for either of those coaches coming to coach the Knicks next season. Someone did mention, I forgot the name of the Memphis Grizzlies head coach who was fired during the season. They mentioned him as a possible candidate. They also mentioned a former Knicks assistant, Johnniebryant, which the players loved. When they were coaching, when he was on the coaching staff. Who else? Who else can you say that could probably do a better job than Thibodeau? It's not many people. I'm gonna be honest with you, not many people. That's why this firing didn't make sense to me. It was odd to me. There's no clear-cut replacement. I'm lying. There is one clear-cut replacement, and I mentioned in my podcast a few years ago when they hired Thibodeau. If you're going to fire Thibodeau and you're in New York City, you have no choice but to hire Markjackson. You have no choice now. You can't say we're going to hire somebody else, Johnniebryant or even Jaywright. You can't go there. It's not going to work. The only man that you can hire that will make Knicks fan base happy is Markjackson. Period. He played for some of the best coaches in the NBA. He played under Larry Brown, Jeff Van Gundy, Pat Riley, Larry Bird. I believe he's top 10 in assists in NBA history. If assists was just enough for him to get to the Hall of Fame, he would be in the Hall of Fame as a first ballot Hall of Famer. If assists was the main thing. That's the only coach that would make sense right now. And for some reason, I don't think leonrose will pull that trigger. Because you know it's going to happen. Markjackson is going to change the way the Knicks playing basketball. Because he's a pass-first point guard. He's going to have. There's going to be some roster. There's going to be some roster changes, nevertheless. Whoever comes in to coach the team. Nevertheless. Now, Jaywright is intriguing. He's a two-time. I don't know how many times he won a national championship. I think he won more than two. But I know for a fact he won two. He's familiar with Brunson. He's familiar with Bridges. He's familiar with Josh Hart. Okay. Me as a Knicks fan, I felt we were too much heavy into Villanova Wildcat basketball instead of focusing on building a team that can compete for years to come and compete for a championship every season. Okay. Granted, these guys, Josh Hart, Brunson, and Mikal Bridges this year, brought us to the Eastern Conference Finals. Each contribution was necessary for it to make it happen. But is it enough? And I believe it's not enough. I'm sorry. If I was running the New York Knicks, there has to be a way to have to move one of them out. One of the Villanova boys has to be moved out. And all estimation, I felt the wrong Villanova Wildcat was traded last year. The wrong one was traded. The wrong one was traded last year. Because I guarantee you, if we had his shooting and his tenacity, maybe the Knicks do get to the NBA Finals right now. Now, I'm not saying DiVincenzo is the next coming of Steph Curry, but it's a certain different energy that you needed to compete with the Pacers. Just the energy, different type of energy, toughness. I'm not saying this team is not tough, but you need a little edge to you. You need that edge. That series against the 76ers last season, the Knicks beat the 76ers because he had that freaking edge to him. We getting ready to scrap to win this series. For some reason, this team didn't have this edge. That's been missing the entire season. It didn't have that edge. Granted, you did lose it when you traded Julius Randle. You lost that edge when you traded him away. You lost it when you traded away DiVincenzo. Granted, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was not a fan of Julius Randle. I was not a fan of him not because of his talent. It was because of his attitude when things didn't go his way and how it broke the team down. But I also did say I want to see what this team looks like with a healthy Randle and a DiVincenzo, and you brought in Mikal Bridges. I want to see what this team looks like before making that trade for Karl-Anthony Towns. See what it looks like. Now, we're at a crossroads now because panic is starting to set in. I felt this fire was a panic move. I truly believe that. It was a panic move. You're going to enter the offseason where the team that you lost to twice in the playoffs with the same exact roster, mind you, same exact roster. Albeit Maturin played this series. They beat you with the same roster in 6 games instead of going to 7 games. That's an issue. The Knicks lost game 1 not because of bad coaching. They lost the game in game 1 because of their superstar. 22 seconds left. Y'all by 5. Nesmith just hit his 4th three-pointer in a row. Just hit his 4th three-pointer in a row. Why are you not trying to run clock and try to throw an alley-oop to Anunoby? Which he was fouled, but he overturned it and said it wasn't a foul. And then Nesmith hit another three-pointer to bring it to 2. Missed free throws by Karl-Anthony Towns and OG Anunoby. Karl-Anthony Towns, I don't know why he's missing free throws. This guy's is an 82% free throw shooter. Why is he missing free throws in games, big games? Got to ask that question. That shit cannot happen. I'm doing this without notes, guys. I have no notes. I'm just going off straight raw emotion. Hopefully, when I get Matt on the show, we're going to talk a little bit more. I'm still emotional, but I'm still speaking with logic here as far as, Karl-Anthony Towns' defensive lapses or lack of defensive continuity was part of the reason why Knicks lost this series. It's part of the reason. When they're doing the switches, he's falling back instead of being on top of shooters. I'd rather give up a 2-pointer than a 3-pointer. And trust me, Indiana could shoot that freaking basketball. Now, I'm going to switch up a little bit because I honestly did not want to talk about New York Mets baseball right now. I'm not gonna talk about the New York Mets baseball right now. I will say this: I didn't want to talk about New York Mets baseball this soon. But the Knicks, this team gave us hope. Once you beat Boston, we felt we were going to go all the way. Our starting lineup was much more better than Indiana's. But the thing is that their coach uses the entire bench. Again, another reason why Thibodeau could have been fired, because he didn't use his bench until he had to in Game 4. And he saw the defensive prowess of DeLon Wright. Even Shamet was playing some great defense, playing better defense than all the starters that was in there, who were supposed to be defensive specialists. And then you got McBride. McBride was in everybody's chest. That's how he's supposed to play defense. McBride had some decent games, decent performances in the minutes he played, but he didn't get enough minutes. But I will say one thing: one of the adjustments Thibodeau made that really exposed the weakness of the lineup with Jalenbrunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. When Karl-Anthony Towns was on the floor with DeLon Wright, McBride, and Shamet, and whoever there was playing in the power forward position, whether it was Josh Hart, whether it was or Adenobi, or Matt Robinson or Chua, Karl-Anthony Towns was playing some great basketball. The ball was in his hands. He was going to the basket. I kind of wish he would shoot less 3-pointers. Use that as the X factor in his game instead of the main factor of his game. But this was a tough loss. This was a tough loss period, which precipitated, which then proceeded to do a panic firing. This is what it was: a panic firing. A panic firing of a head coach who brought this team back out from obscurity. Life's not fair. It was life's not fair, so I can't say it's not fair. But life is never fair, even for the great people, even for the good people in this world. Like I said, panic firing. Yeah, now you're gonna do a head coach search. But one thing I want to ask you guys a question. I'm gonna post the link in the comment section if you guys would like to join the podcast. Why was it such a rush to fire him now? Couldn't this have waited till after the NBA Finals? Couldn't have waited to do more assessment on why the season went awry? You know what I'm saying? Was it? It wasn't entirely the head coach, guys. Guys who did not play up to their capabilities. Brunson had a very bad series. He did have some breakout games, but in all, he had a bad series. He blew game 1 with poor time management. And when him and Towns on the floor, the defense is trash. Defense is trash. That's why they had to put Mitchell Robinson back in the starting lineup. And then something was off with Josh Hart. I'm gonna be honest. Something was really off with him. I can't put my finger on it this series. He was fumbling the ball, turning the ball over. Did he have an injury to his hand? I believe he injured his hand somehow during I think either the Detroit series or early in the Indiana series. Was his hand injured or something like that? He was off. Definitely off. I just feel bad for Tom Thibodeau. I liked him as a coach. I wasn't big of his fan because he refused to adjust He didn't make the adjustments that was necessary to make this team better. You know? But when he was forced to do it, he saw what he had in his bench. And the management was like, oh, shoot, okay, here we go. We got to let him go. Because we had all these people on the bench, he never used them, which is unfair. Thus, the panic firing. The thought came to my mind with Tom Thibodeau. I want to say that he reminds me of Buck Showalter in the sense that he builds programs, the next guy comes in, the next guy wins. But when Tom Thibodeau leaves an organization, the team goes into deeper funks. Whereas in Buck Showalter, the next guy that comes in finishes the job and wins the World Series or goes deeper to the playoffs, whether it's the Yankees or the Diamondbacks, and to a lesser extent, the New York Mets. You know? But I had to take that back because I had to really think about it. I was like, oh, shoot, he's not Buck Showalter. You know. Small comparison, but he's not Buck Showalter. Buck Showalter leaves great programs ready to win championships. With this team, you don't know what's going to happen because you're cap strong. You got to resign. Bridges is up for an extension after this season. Well, he's up for extension now. He may not give you a hometown discount. What can you do with him? Do you trade a guy you gave up 5 first-round picks after 1 year? And that's on the general manager if you do that. I don't care if you get Giannis. I don't care if you get Devin Booker. Give up 5 first-round picks. I said he's worth it because the Knicks are going to be in the playoffs every season. They're going to pick in the 20s. It'll be okay. But when you have a season like this, when you beat the defending world champions, the way you beat them, it didn't matter that Jason Tatum was injured. It didn't matter. But when you defeat the defending world champions, the way you defeated them, come back from 20 points down in their home floor in the first 2 games, each, you're supposed to go to the NBA Finals. That should be momentum enough for you to go to the NBA Finals, no matter who you're facing in the Conference Finals. Should have been enough momentum. At points, it looked like the team just ran out of gas, or something was really off. Like I said, guys, I posted the link on the chat. If you guys want to join the podcast, come in. You don't. If you're camera shy, don't come on camera. A lot of commentators don't like it. Chris Russo, Mad Dog, Stephen A. Smith doesn't like it. Perk didn't like the firing. I didn't like the firing. It was a panic move. But the truth I want to know is who made that call. Who really made that call? Because leonrose was Tom Thibodeau's agent before he joined the Knicks as general manager. Think about that for a second. If you guys are able to go on my Instagram, True Players Podcast Instagram, you would have saw my IG live episode number 2. Hope you guys watch it. I will post it on YouTube today. It's just a bad day. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if I'm gonna watch the NBA Finals. But I'm kind of intrigued about the matchups. SGA against Halliburton. In my opinion, I think Thunder's going to win. The Thunder, Seattle Supersonic franchise, I believe they're going to win the championship this season. I don't know if it's going to be in 6 games or 7 games. Originally I thought it would be Oklahoma City in 5. Originally I thought it'd be in 5, but you gotta give those Pacers some respect. They beat the Bucks, which they're falling apart. They beat the number 1 seed Cavaliers, the team that won 64 games this season. 64 games. Beat them as if they were the number 1 seed and Cleveland was just a number 5 or 6 seed. Then they came and beat the Knicks in 6 games. You gotta give that team props. Even though I hate the Pacers. Ever since Reggie Miller. Gotta give them their props. Now, let's go to the new coaches. Players you need to keep your eye on who could be moved. No matter whoever, there's gonna be a new coach. Players that could be moved. I want you guys to think about that before my next episode. Call Anthony Towns, Mitchell Robinson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, and Deuce McBride. Those are the players you got to be concerned about for next season, whether or not they're going to be on the team next year. Definitely got to be concerned about that. So on that note, I'm going to end the podcast right now. Definitely follow me on Instagram, True Players Podcast. Follow me on TikTok. I'm still developing that page, but still follow me. So when the time you guys follow, it'll be up and popping, right? Up and popping. Any criticisms, comments, complaints about this podcast, hit me up via email, trueplayerspodcast@gmail.com. It's TRUPLAYAZ podcast@gmail.com. So it's your man Big Down. We're going to sign off on this podcast, all right? I hit you guys on the next one. Hopefully I have Matthew on. We're going to discuss the Knicks situation even more and in depth than what we did today. So it's your man Big Down signing off. Peace.